Today we have poet Sanjeev Sethi in our studio. He came to Delhi a few days ago to read from his latest book, Hesitancies, at the India International Center, and the event was organized by the Poetry Society India. Today we have this privilege of having the poet among us, and it's our honor to ask him a few questions about his life, about his work, like about his poetry. Before I start this formal question answer round, let me tell you that Sanjeev Sethi has authored 5 books of poetry, Hesitancies by Classics being the latest. It was released in July 2021, and a month before it, he released Bleb from Scotland. He is published in over 30 countries. His poems have found a home in more than 375 journals, anthologies, and online literary venues. Recent credits being Stand Magazine, The Lake, Futures Trading Anthology 8, and the Heron Clan Anthology 8. He is the joint winner of Full Fact Collection Competition, DOCS, organized by the Hedgehog Poetry Press UK. He is in the top 10 of the Arbessi Prize. Did I say it correctly?
Yes.
2021 UK. And as you know, Sanjeev ji lives in Mumbai. Sanjeev ji, welcome to Grains. As you know, Grains is a collective effort of Hawakal Publishers and Shambhavi Imprint. And we have been waiting for you. We have been waiting for your arrival in our studio for a long time. Thanks to the Poetry Society, who could finally fetch you to Delhi. How was your reading session?
At the outset, let me thank you for your warm words and for giving me this opportunity to be with you and to pontificate about my work. Now, what was your question?
How was your reading? How was the event?
As all reading of poetry events are concerned, it was a quiet function, and people in poetry are generally very polite and they're quiet, and it's not at all controversial. So it was smooth sailing as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. So Sanjeev ji, please allow me to start this session of question and answers. I have this set 8 questions for you, and I'm sorry I couldn't share these questions prior to your arrival here. So your answers would be spontaneous for the audience. My first question is, you have been published in over 30 countries. Like over 30 countries, how did you manage to get published in over 30 countries, in so many countries? We know that to be published in so many places requires a solid body of work, and figuring out the places, the journals and magazines one would like to submit the work to. So, can we assume the effort invested into writing poetry equals the labor of finding suitable venues for publication?
No, because I think the internet has simplified a lot of things. A lot of venues are available to you, and in some places you even get a response in one day. So it's not like in maybe 25 years ago, when you had to go to the post office, stand in the queue, send in a poem or a bunch of poems to some place, maybe in the UK or wherever else, and you would get a response after 9 months, and it was mostly a rejection, or sometimes you wouldn't even get a rejection, or sometimes even if it was accepted, they wouldn't inform you, not because they were being lazy. The postal system was so bad that you wouldn't get the response. And those are not the days of Google and other outlets, so you would not even know about that it has been published. All that has changed with the internet, and we are really blessed and lucky to be in that situation, because now the information is available, so you just send it and your things get picked up. So it's really, it is a song. Only thing you have to be is dedicated and involved with the process of, number one, creating, and constantly keep sending. Because rejection is a part which comes with the territory. So if you get 4 places reject you, it doesn't mean anything, because you may get 6 acceptances the following time.
You're right.
So you have to continue working on it, and just keep working at it. And like when I began this phase of my life, I never knew it was going to be 1 country or 21 countries. I mean, it kept happening. So it is just a process. What is more important is that you be committed to the art form, keep writing, and keep sending work. And
so as you say, it takes commitment, dedication, and complete devotion to poetry.
Yes.
And for its publication.
Yes. So to see you through the process.
Sure.
From the idea, when you get the idea of the poem,
Yeah.
to
The execution.
the execution, the improvement, the editing,
Yeah.
and then sending it.
Yeah.
And then if there is a rejection from the first place, then you see that are you still convinced about the quality of the poem? And sometimes you are convinced, and sometimes you think, yes, the editor who rejected you had a point.
Yeah.
So then you rework on the poem. Some poems you don't need to rework on. So it's a constant battle, but it is very satisfying.
And not an easy process.
I think for those who are in it,
Yeah.
and who are devoted and dedicated to it, it's easy. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it. I mean, someone who plays cricket, it's Sachin Tendulkar. It's not difficult for him.
Yeah.
He plays cricket in his dreams.
So if I put it in one line, devotion is a keyword.
And if it is your inner calling, I mean, if you can't do it to impress somebody, or
That is obvious, Sanjeevji, because if one is not devoted enough, like if one hasn't the inner call, one cannot be devoted enough.
Yes.
Okay. As I said, as his bio goes, he was among the top 10 of the Urbasi Prize 2021 in UK. Sanjeevji, what is this Urbasi Prize?
It's an annual competition, and this is one of the few competitions which you don't have to pay to send in your submission. And they have submitters all over the world. And this year there were 12,000 and 12,500 people who had sent in their work.
Oh, wonderful. So to be among the first top 10 among 12,500 submissions is
From all over the world.
from all over the world is indeed commendable. Congratulations.
Thank you, Kiriti.
So my third question would be your recent 2 releases. One is Hesitancies by Classics, which is an imprint of Hawakal Publishers, and Bleb from Hybrid Ridge. So these 2 books came out this year, 2021. Before these collections, back in 2015, you released This Summer and That Summer, which came out from Bloomsbury. So I can see a gap of 6 years. It seems it has been a conscious decision on your part not to publish a book before 2021.
No, I don't think that is how it happened. I won an award from the Hedgehog Press
Yeah.
in 2019.
Yes.
And that book was meant to come out in 2020.
Okay.
And then last year. And then COVID happened and that book got delayed. But I continued writing, doing whatever I was doing, and with great honesty and with all the execution at my command. And then last year, towards the end of May, I got an email from the editor Jack Caradoc.
This year, May.
This year, May.
Yeah.
I got an email from Jack Caradoc, who's the editor of Dirich magazine,
Yes.
that they wanted to publish my V-book. I jumped at the offer, and he asked me to submit as quickly as I could, and I did that, and that book came out in the end of June. That book was ready. And while that process was on, I received an email from
Yeah, that we know, and that we should tell the audience that we approached you for a full-length manuscript, and finally we could release his hesitancies in July this year.
so in basically in 2 months,
Yeah,
which
two books happened.
two books happened, and all like from the conception to the creation to the production,
Yeah.
which is so rare in poetry. And but it is to publishers like Bitan and you and Jack in Scotland that I've been blessed to be dealing with, and it is just good fortune and the blessings of the universe that it happened so quickly. So it was not that I had planned it like this. It just happened on its own. And now that book from the Hedgehog would probably come out next year.
Okay.
So which was actually meant to be my 4th book, but will now be my 6th book, inshallah.
Right. Although pleasures is all ours to publish you and to have you in the list of our authors. You came to Delhi to read at the India International Center for an event organized by the Poetry Society India. You have been pretty consistent in declining offers for reading in public events. And if I may say so, you made a rare appearance after many years. What made you say no for such a long time? And now that you came to read, what changed your mind, even if temporarily?
I mean, the truth of the matter is, one of the major responses for this change in my mind is you.
Yeah.
Because you and Bitan as my publishers have been constantly telling me not to be so low profile, to come out in the public and read and let people know, more and more people get to know of me. And somewhere I saw merit in that. And when I kind of played with the idea in my mind, and I thought you have a point, this was the first offer which I got, and I accepted it. And I'm grateful that I'm here, and because of that now we've got an opportunity to talk to you about my books. So it's all good.
Wonderful. For our audience, let me tell you, Sanjeev Sethi is not available on any social media platform. Yes, he has a Twitter account that he opened only recently. Even there, he's not very active. Uh, Sanjeev ji, I've been telling you to become active, to open an account on social media, because these days social media plays a huge role. And I was telling you only yesterday that so many publications, these social media handles, they are gateways to the links to those publications that happen online. So what is your present take on social media?
I'm not still convinced that I should actively participate there, for just one reason, that I'm absolutely just locked down with the idea of writing, and there is this intense phase which is continuing, and I know this intense phase is in short supply. At some stage it will get over, so I am a little scared of dissipating my time, and I don't want to dissipate my time and give as much as I can to poetry. That's one reason, but it actually doesn't mean I have no digital presence, because every second or third day I'm published in some journal or the other somewhere in the world. And every journal, they have pages on Facebook and Twitter and Insta. And so all the editors continuously keep putting my stuff
Yeah.
all over the place. It's only direct access I don't have.
Yeah, this is true that they all mention you.
Not mentioned, they show my work
Yeah,
there.
they mention your name, they showcase your work.
Yes.
The only thing that's happening for a long time is they cannot tag you, since you don't have a presence,
Right.
An account with any of the social media handles.
Right.
They cannot tag you. Otherwise, your work is regularly being mentioned, being referred to, and being showcased everywhere.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So in the past 6 years or so, you have published 1,750 poems. I repeat, in the past 6 years or so, you have published 1,750 poems plus. This is an unimaginable number, an unimaginable digit for a poet living in any corner of the world. How do you plan your everyday writing? Do you have a specific regime to follow?
Kirti, there is nothing else in my life as of now but just writing. So through the day, I am with the poetic process, either creating or reworking on a poem, or submitting, or sending it somewhere, or finding out the venues to send it. Some process is constantly on, and there is no social life, and this is out of choice. It's not that it may seem very sad from another point of view, but I'm really in harmony with myself, and I'm really calm, and I think it's a blessing to be in the situation I am. I just want to continue it for some more time, and I know it will not continue with this force. Just life overtakes you, and at some time you will see how that, because of you, that Twitter account at least I've started. Maybe at some stage, I'll be on Facebook, and then because I am so focused in whatever I do, then maybe I'm spending 6 hours on Facebook only, and I'll always be putting my likes to your whatever you put in there, and
Comments.
yeah, and my comments, and I'll do it for all my poetry friends. So it's just a phase, Don't read too much into it. But I'm really enjoying what I'm doing right now, and I just want to do it for some more time.
Google or Bing, Sanjeevji, Google or Bing or like any search engine, unfortunately, they do not accurately mirror the wealth of your published work. I mean, the body of your work. And I have been pressing you to come up with a website of your own. Is it on your cards? When can we find your website?
With a well-wisher like you,
Yeah.
I think my website is not very far away.
Okay.
I think moment I go back to Mumbai, in fact, last night I was with a dinner at a friend's place, and we were discussing my website, and I've got some leads about somebody who's going to be doing it for me. So I think it will be very, very soon. It will be there.
Okay.
And you are solely to blame for it. I mean, that is the truth of the matter.
Maybe as your publisher, we can plan a gala launch of your website in Bombay.
Yeah, give me 4 months.
Sure. We will wait.
Thanks, Kit.
You are a gem of a wordsmith, Sanjeevji. I mean, you have ways with your words. This isn't congenital. Like, this is obvious. This isn't congenital. It doesn't come along with your birth, but a quality that one acquires over a while. How did it happen? How did you find these ways to your words?
Number one, you're very kind and you're very generous with your comments, and I love hearing it. So thank you. Number two, I am a very serious reader of poetry. I'm constantly reading, and I read it like a student. So every time a new word crosses me, I pause, I think about it, I go to the dictionary, I check it. So I'm constantly updating my vocabulary. And if you continuously keep doing it, at some stage those words become part of your lexicon.
Yes.
And so when I am writing, the words have to come from my within. And then those join the string of words I'm used to.
Yeah.
So constantly I'm using different words because I'm constantly working on it. I read very seriously. So it is a byproduct of that. Nothing more than that. It's just hard labor, hard work.
Right.
And a boring man who's sitting on his desk.
No, you are not boring.
I mean, boring from another perspective.
So for readers, for people who have not seen his latest book, Hesitancies, here it is. It's a collection of how many poems, Sanjeevji?
78.
78 poems. This book has been published by Classics, which is an imprint of Hawakal Publishers, and this was released, as I said before, in July 2021. My next question to Sanjeev Sethi would be, Like other countries, literature, especially poetry, does not help earn a living. So, what would you advise the young who intend to nurture writing poetry? Because the amount of time, the dedication that you have toward poetry, or for writing poetry, or like for submitting them, or for editing your own work, and I'm sure you help quite a few poets like me. Like I know a few poets are there in India whom you constantly help with with refining their work. But your dedication is a rare quality. But the young, they have to earn a living because poetry does won't feed them, won't help them, sustain themselves. So, what is your advice to the young generation?
It is a very valid question, and there is a lot of pathos in that question. For the young, all I will say is yes, you must have your careers, whatever you're doing. If you're a journalist, or you're in the advertising world, or you're in publishing, whatever you're doing, please do that, and then be a weekend poet, or on weekends. And it's not for me to suggest. Everybody has to choose their own path.
Yeah.
And when you are so committed to poetry, you will take out half an hour a day or 1 hour a day, and you will do it. Or on your way to the office, you will read something, and over your lunch break, you will write a line and maybe a couple of lines in a poem. So everybody basically has to find a method for themselves. I, in my limited experience of my own life, I have found my method of making my needs being met.
Yeah.
And everybody has to choose their own life and their own methods of doing it. All I can say is it is very sad that there is no money in poetry, but the way the circumstances are, it is for people where money is not the predominant concern. If that is, then you cannot give it 14 hours of hard work.
Right.
And I would suggest people not to do that if they do not have other sources of income. So I'm very clear about that.
Sure.
So I should not mislead people into believing that they can have the joys of writing poetry and the fulfillment that comes with it. And when the belly is empty, the belly has to be taken care of.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. That was quite an apt answer, Sanjeevji. Thank you for that. Two more questions to ask you, Sanjeevji.
Please.
The penultimate question to you would be, you have been published in over 30 countries with more than 1750 poems to your credit. You must be having an amazing relationship with your editors, like the editors who work for the publishing concerns that have published your books, editors of the magazines and journals who have published your work. So, how would you describe your relationship with the editors?
Kirti, it is mainly cordial, and the editors who are based overseas, with them it is through the email, and the emails are quick and polite, and that is how the relationship works. And then also different people are made differently.
Yeah.
I can give you two examples. That there is a journal in Australia called Otholiths.
Yes.
Mark Young is the editor.
Yeah.
He's an Australian. Actually, he's from New Zealand, but living in Australia for many years now. And I have, the issue comes out 4 times a year. I have been in 26 issues, the last 26 issues. Each time there has been my poems.
So, all 26 issues have your poems?
I mean, for the last 26
Yes.
issues,
Yeah.
my poems are there, every issue. And but I know the sequence of time, and I send him a submission, and he accepts it, and that's where the equation ends. To Jack Caradoc, who is the editor in charge of Dritch, the people who published Bleb. They have published me in more than 30 anthologies, and again it's through the email. I have no idea how young, old, who's Jack, but he's a great guy and very quick with emails, and that for me is the most important thing.
Lovely.
He will give you a reply in a day, sometimes in 2 hours, sometimes in a maximum a day, and I've done for more than 30 anthologies with them. But so it's broadly what I'm trying to say is it's a cordial relationship through the emails, But nothing personal. I don't even know either of them or their story, their personal stories or anything. But also that has to do with the kind of person I am. I am fairly detached, and my only concern is that my work should find its outlet.
Wonderful. So they truly uphold the spirit of professionalism.
Yes, you said it well.
Right.
You said it well, Kirti.
With this, we come to the last question of this afternoon. Sanjeev ji, when can we expect your next book?
I think probably by the beginning of next year, or maybe May, anything between May to June.
Okay.
And this book is called Wrappings in Bespoke. It was actually meant to be my fourth book, because this was a competition I had won in UK, and it was meant to come out in 2020. But because of COVID, now there's a delay, and I'm expecting it to be out when I've just told you. So unless a miracle happens and something new comes up, to which I cannot say no, like how the bleb and hesitancies happened.
Keeping fingers crossed.
Yes, all the time. I
Yeah.
think poetry is a dangerous territory at many levels, so finger has to be always crossed.
Right. Sanjeev ji, thank you so much for joining us at our Delhi studio. It was a pleasure to welcome you and to have this honest and very candid face-to-face conversation. Wishing you all the best for all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much, Kirti. You are a gentle soul, you're very kind, and you and Bitan have been very gracious publishers, and I'm eternally grateful to you. And I wish you well, and thank you for this very enlightened questions.
Thank you so much. You're most welcome, Sanjeev ji.
Thank you so much.